What's up, you guys? What's going on? Today I wanted to talk about video editing and some tips that can help you with video editing if you're into content creating, if you want to start doing some filmmaking. 10 basic things that you can use to help yourself as far as becoming like a content creator. Also, I'm going to go over a few different editing softwares you can also use. So off the jump, for me, my go-to would be Final Cut Pro X. Adobe Premiere is also a really good one. A lot of people use that one. That was pretty popular as well. I've also used DaVinci Resolve and iMovie. So those are like the four that I mainly have dibbled and dabbled in to try to do some video editing. But my main, of course, like I said before, would be Final Cut Pro X. Now, the last two, the latter, iMovie and DaVinci Resolve, those last two are free. So for the people that are like, man, they don't really have enough money to get like editing software, or if they want to try to use some editing software for free, DaVinci Resolve and iMovie. But iMovie, you definitely have to have like an iMac or some type of Apple computer, some sorts like that. But I don't want to waste too much time on this, guys, because I know people may have stuff to do, and video editing can be very tricky, and you have to kind of feed your own need and like your wants. Your style basically is how you are going to figure out what you actually like. But these are like 10 basic things within some software, editing software, to get good at it and something to play with and be like, hey, I became a video editor, whatever. All right, we're gonna jump into this. If you got any questions, let me know. We may do some pauses. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna go down here to new project, which is already right here for you down in Final Cut Pro X. We click down right here, and I kind of want to do something fun. I don't want to just be doing like the wedding stuff all of the time. Let's try to do something cool. So we got Jorga versus Endo. This is some Last of the Forest type stuff. I know y'all like my stuff. If you haven't seen episode 1, go check it out. But this is just gonna be a practice run with some of the fellas, and we're gonna make this work. All right, Jorga, Endo, let's do fight. We check all of our stuff. We want the video to be 1080p, this, and this. This is how I shot it, 23, 24 frames per second. And the resolution 1920 by 1080. So all of this right here is like the settings that I pretty much shot at. Apple ProRes 422 is pretty much what I edited in. Kind of like the default settings or like the standard. So we'll just hit okay. And 3, 2, 1, okay. All right, now that we're in here, we have our footage to play with, you know what I mean? So after we've pretty much done that, we would go to upload, which would be right here, would be the download button. But since I already have my footage uploaded, I don't have to go down here into my G drive or anything from a memory card or anything. So, you know, you would upload your footage that way, this down arrow, or you go up to file, import. So I'm gonna scroll down here and see if I can find a good beginning spot. Maybe like a take 1. Okay, this is perfect. So we got Lanier here, we have Prince here. This will be perfect. So with Final Cut Pro, this is what I like about it. It's really easy. You can just drag and drop, and it's not like a whole lot of issues. Grab, boom. Let me turn this down a tad bit. So now you got your first piece in here. This is just basic editing tips, guys, so you guys remember. So you got your first piece, and you're like, all right, let me see what this looks like. Boom. You go ahead and play that. You're like, okay, this would be like the first little sequence. He starts to speak. Like, okay, we got Lanier right here. Scene 1, take 1. He gets out of the way, which would be perfect. So what I would do is see how you have this over here? It's just too much in the way, and then you have Lanier here. You don't want that right there because you know you're trying to make a movie. You can hit the blade tool. So come right here where you see like an arrow at, and it's going to give you like a selection of different tools you can use to do some more in-depth editing. And it's not like super hard or anything, so you guys don't get deterred by that. So normally I hit B for blade, but you can always go here if you don't know like your shortcuts. So let's go ahead and hit B for the blade. Now you got a pair of scissors right here. You know what that means. You have your line right here already. This yellow line is pretty much telling you where you want to cut at. And we're going to keep it real basic too, fellas, so it's not too hard. And ladies, press the cut. All right, you got the cut. You can either hit A or back to your select, which is A. So now you can select stuff, grab it, delete it. So now he's out of the way, and now we just got the beginning. Perfect, right? easy as pie. If that was too hard, you can go back and rewind that. If it's too hard for you, you can do that one again. We're gonna move on to the next step. I'm gonna keep it real basic for y'all. Volume for Final Cut users. Me personally, if the volume is, at 0 decibels, I would go over here and I want to zoom in a tad bit. It was default at first, but now I would be able to kind of mess with the volume a tad bit in Final Cut. So it's not always perfect to just be messing with your volume from a video clip. That's why normally I try to record from a microphone like I'm doing now, or shotgun mics or some type of audio device, and match it with your actual characters and whatnot. So that's pretty much my style. All right, so you can mess with your volume here, up, down, and like I said, you would go here to get like a zoom in if you wanted to see a little bit more, or you just do the pinch and spread like you do your iPhones and your new phones that's out now. You can go all the way, like, all right, I see all of it, or like I want to get really in depth with what I'm looking at, so I'm gonna zoom in. Those type of things. All right, moving on past the volume. How to stack and drop and drag audio effects and all of this different type of stuff. All right, so when I say stack, say I'm shooting like a cool intro or something, you know what I mean? I would, for instance, all right, we got good old Roberto right here sitting and chilling in the tree. I could stack this and put it on top of where, we have our character Endo, which is played by Prince here. And if I hit play, the one on the top is gonna take like precedence. So it's gonna be getting played, first. You may still be able to hear both of them, but the one that's gonna be shown is the one that's at the top. Those are pretty much what they call what I call stacking, right? So you could also put your effects up here, and this is your main track also. I forgot to mention this, by the way. Let me delete this and show you guys real quick. So this black strip right here is like your main track in Final Cut. Not all editing software is made like this. It's made similar, but this is like a magnetic strip. So if I pull here and let go, it always comes back. It's a little more user friendly, and I like Final Cut. I've worked with other ones too, but I like this one. It kind of fits my style for me personally. All right, and let's keep that back right there to kind of show you guys something. No, actually, let's put it right here so we can make it look a bit more like a movie. So like I said before, with the blade and editing, we don't even always have the blade. We can grab the end of it and drag that down as well, so it would cut early, you know what I mean? Boom. So now we got Lanier here doing the clipboard, so I can get called for action to do the shot with good old Jorga, Mr. Roberto up here in the tree. So I'm gonna stop that here. He's supposed to do some speaking here. I'm not gonna have the audio on for this record. I'm just showing you guys right now just how to cut. So I would wait for him to move that. After that, I would call action. Now I'm gonna do my fast cuts. B, see how my scissors are here? Cut, boom, turn it back into the A for select, boom, and delete. Now let's see how things look. And we would I press spacebar to play. You can press play here. Quick keys, like I said earlier, are on your keyboard. I press spacebar, so I'll press spacebar now to play, boom. And it goes right into that, you know what I mean? So those are the basic ways. So he's speaking to him, right? So let's just keep doing that a little bit so we can kind of get used to that. I'm not gonna do it like perfect or anything. Let's just trim the fats, as I call it. We're gonna delete here, and then we're gonna go down to, okay, what would happen next? He approaches him, he's in the tree. He eventually gets out of the tree. That wouldn't be a good scene. We would have let's do a drag and drop. We trim the fats here, or we could do again B, cut, and delete. You start doing this for a while, you get a little fast at it. Like anything else, man, you do it enough with enough time, you are gonna become very, very good. So now we have an altercation here with these first two clips. They're kind of speaking, they got into it. Now the stage is set. We're gonna press our space bar again. This playback line is pretty much where we would stop everything at. That's what's cool about, Final Cut and a lot of editing softwares as well. It shows you where you were at, and then we'll press play. All right, start high, let it come in low. Fight scene is set, right? And boom, we'll have him walk and then cut. So we're shooting all of this on a gimbal also, which that didn't really matter much, but that's how the movements are so steady. I talked about that in one of my previous videos, but okay, cool. So right before, while he's walking up, I had my shot in mind to be like, okay, he's walking up on him. I would stop here, either cut here and drag it to the line. The line would stop for me because I have this to kind of block it off. It stops wherever the line is. Okay, so say I take this off. It doesn't stop and grab the end of any piece of footage or audio that I have, right? Turn it back on, grab, see how it magnetizes towards like the last clip? Kind of sticks there. That's cool when you're kind of just doing your thing and you're like, all right, you know, you've kind of gotten to your groove and you like it to stop at certain places where cuts are. So boom, right here. It would also stop right here as well. So let me show you that too. Boom. Stops where the cuts are. Now say I had a lot of different cuts, like I had it stacked, it would be stopping up there too. It's a very helpful, but as you all know, sometimes, you know, if it's too much going on, you would have to undo it so you could have a little more free will and it's not so much dragging towards the end of the cuts or in the middle of the cuts. Okay, so let's move on. I don't want to go too in depth with this because I know editing is, you know, different for everybody. Like I said before, press play. We'll just start that from here. Press play here. All editing software, you'll see a play button. Majority of them, space bar will be your play button, and you can kind of configure your settings as well when you're messing with, like, you know, Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, and I'm sure DaVinci Resolve, iMovie. All very similar, but they all have their, you know, pros and cons like anything else in the world. All right, we're gonna move on to the next. How to grade. All right. So this was shot in log. So what log is like a flat image, and I don't want to go too in depth with this either because I know this takes a little time as well. It took me a little time when I started off doing video and trying to do films and movies as well. So if I wanted to grade this, I would click the actual piece of footage that I wanted graded. Graded is like giving it color or wanting to like sharpen, whatnot, whatever you want to do with it, right? So I would go up to here, this little rainbowish, colorish looking area, and it'll say no color corrections, right? And whatever you see kind of pulsating, that's what I'm clicking on. So, you know, just look for that. You see a little pulsating, a little sound wave looking thing, that's what Dunlap's clicking on. All right, say we want to play with it. Say we don't want to do it like super great. All right, it's flat. So we're gonna make it a little more green. If we want to pull this down here, say we want to warm it up a little bit. Here we want to pull it, you know. You don't want to pull it too much. I shot this on the EOS R too, so the colors won't be great, but just for an example, we're gonna up our saturation a tad bit. You see how he's kind of starting to come into the color a little bit. I may be oversaturating it, but you know, hey, it is what it is. Not even just with color. We want to also work with our exposure as well. So he's here. It's still looking flat. I want to kind of pull the shadows down a little bit, give a little bit of a shadow tone. Maybe pull down here a tad bit. Also on the, go up a tad bit on the highlights. I like to shoot shadow side, you know what I mean? Like most movies you see, gives that dramatic feel, right? And not even only that. So I don't want to stay on that too much, to be honest. I want to make this a little quick video. I don't want to have you guys like, but if you do have any questions, you want me to go in more depth with that, ask me, and what I know, I will definitely tell you guys. Okay, so we're going to go to adding titles, right? I'm going to make this very, very, very quick. Okay, adding titles. Now I'm coming back up here, that top left screen. Titles and generators and stuff, you know, like if you watched any films, any movies, these are like your basic kind of default titles that come within Final Cut Pro X. You can drag and drop these as well. You know, you kind of get the atmospheric, and I don't really mess with that kind of stuff too much. I may do like, you know, the blurs. Let's do a basic title. That's fine. So we'll do that. Matter of fact, let's put that at the beginning of the show. So click here, and we'll definitely click what we're trying to work on, and we'll go to the word title. And you'll see over here, it will come you'll have the ability to kind of do some typing and picking your text and your font. Let's see, let's do impact, just because that's a basic one. Very easy. This is a basic tutorial. Delete here, and this is last of the four, so LAST of the Force. Easy peasy, right? So check this out. I can have this long like this. Let's zoom out a tad bit. Like I said, I'm pinching in and out to zoom in and out. So I can trim this down a tad bit and I hit play. So it comes in, last of the Force, and it's just rolling for a second. I got it really too long, and then your movie would start. You're a long way from home, Reaver. They're starting to get into it. All right, bam. You have that as well. But these basic titles can also, you can take away that black background when I stack. Like I said earlier, when you stack in you can stack your titles, you can stack other footage, you can stack your effects. We'll go into that more depth as well. If you guys want to know, I'm definitely here to help. Okay, so now Endo has Last of the Force right on Prince right here. And it will cut off. Just basic title stuff. All right, now we're going to move on to number 9. I know I really haven't been counting these, but I'm trying to go through them quick. I don't want you guys to be, too confused. And if you are confused, you can rewind it back. If you have any questions, definitely ask me. Okay, editing transitions. Let's go back to our footage. Top left corner, my mouse is here. You should be able to see the pulse. Boom. All right. I'm not going to go too in depth with it. And then you have your runtime here as well. How many seconds your video is at that moment. It's 18 seconds right now with these 3 little clips. I haven't trimmed too many of the fats, but hey, let's get it going. All right, our transitions. All right, let's do a fade. All right, let's do a fade. That's perfect. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to drag this back down here. So we have our intro, and we're going to grab fade to color, and we're going to drag that right in between the beginning. So now Last of the Force fades in, your intro. You press play. Let's press play on here so you guys can see it. Pulse. Boom. My bad. Let's do it again. There it is. Fades out. You see that? And you can also grab your fade and stretch it as well. So it would last a bit longer. So let's play it again. Boom. See how that fade was nice and subtle? Like, ooh, we watching a movie up in this thing. All right, we also have like different transitions as well, but the most popular would probably be that one and like a cross dissolve. Cross dissolves are kind of basic as well. When you want to kind of get to the next scene, let's put that one in between this. We'll start with Roberto in the tree. Press boom. See there how that transition looks like that? Now, if you edit that right, you can make it look dope. But me personally, I would definitely not use that there. I'm just kind of showing you what you can do and that type of thing. And number 10, I want to lastly get into the effects portion. Like I said again, keeping it very, very basic. Things that I would be looking for to try to do some editing. Let's do what's something that would really stand out? Let's do some comic looks. People like they say they like comic. What they got in there? Comic cool. So if you actually select the footage first, they'll let you test it out if you kind of click it also and hover around it. So now these guys kind of look like they're in the comic book. Let's go ahead and drag it and drop it. Boom. They're in the comic book. It's almost looking like an animated series, but a little bit too cheesy in my taste. You can also mess with the effect too in this top right area right here. So you can turn it off, turn it on, and mess with the smoothness. Crank it all the way up. Looks really weird, but hey, you can still make something creative. I might actually do something like this. It's actually kind of cool. Look at that cloud right there. It's actually kind of dope. Possibly done right, you could make it look right. Mess with the smoothness, the edges, make that grass look a little more harsh. Bring up the ink feel, those type of things. Me personally, I wouldn't use that for something like this, but maybe sometime in the future. And turn it on, turn it off. Those are pretty much my 10 for editing and editing software like Final Cut. And I could go more into depth with this and get like really advanced, but those are like the basics. Don't forget, it's really easy. You can just do some drag and drop, like I said. Let's actually make a little scene real quick. I'm not gonna color grade it. Okay, you got him here. He's approaching them. We'll turn this off. Turn this comic cool stuff off. He approaches him. He's walking up. We find our other footage. I'm just scrolling down. He sees that he's running up on him. He's like, what? Roberto's like, what you say? All right, we're going to, like I said, get rid of that. The part I want to start on, I'll press B, my scissors come out, I'll blade it, press A, come here, delete the fats. So I get to where he's approaching him, boom. And he walks, well, no, let's do this. Let's get him walking instead of unsheathing the blade and all of that kind of stuff. So now they're walking up on each other, boom. He just kind of starts walking towards him. We're not going to do it perfect, like I said. And from there, I believe, let's see. I can always preview test my footage as well. You know, I don't do these a lot, so y'all gonna have to forgive me. Okay. Sun's starting to go down. Let's do one where they kind of... Ooh, that wasn't great. That one's not great. This was cool. Let's do E. Boom. He walking up. Let's trim the fats on that to kind of make that look a little better. Where they actually meet in the middle. He's walking up on him. Let's trim the fats on this so we can get my boy out the way. Now open field, these two characters walk into the middle of the field. Boom, 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 boom. The fight kind of starts. And we'll keep it like that. So from that, I would lock up and change it into like the next scene. I don't want to go too far into it, but we definitely could. Let's just see some. What else we got? I don't want to go too in depth, but yeah, this is how it would be, fellas. I'm gonna start here, just kind of show y'all what we made in a few seconds. Boom, last of the force. Fades out, you know. He's speaking to him, this type of thing. Keep on playing, a few more seconds, and the stage is set for a scene, a fight scene. Then action, the approach starts, cuts to our other character, he's approaching him, and then we have them both meet up and have a little tussle like you guys have been seeing. And I would cut it there. Oh yeah, and also let me show you guys this too. So it say I am having like audio issues, or I want to keep my audio, which is another advanced one too. So I should probably wait, but I'll do it now. I'd right click here and I would detach my audio, and I'm only showing you guys this because I was talking about stacking earlier. So now I'm able to take the audio that he was speaking and move it anywhere, but I still have my footage here. So I could, you know, have him speaking here and I wouldn't have to have him showing, you know, like in some movies you're speaking before you actually see characters talking or anything going on. Sometimes the audio over the actual footage is really dope too. So like I'm going back to what I was saying about the stacking. So boom, stack here, boom, stack here, boom, stack here. And they would all play at different times because I got them all layered, right? So last of the force would be boom, this little piece shows, this little piece shows, that little piece shows. Very weird and confusing, but I just wanted to show you that about the stacking. And yeah. So that's pretty much it, and that's the gist of it. In my personal opinion, video editing is really a preference-based kind of thing. Some people like Final Cut, some people like DaVinci Resolve, some like iMovie, some like Adobe Premiere. It just depends on what you are, you know, what you can really work with and what feels user-friendly for you. But a lot of people like a lot of different things, and honestly, you can set up some of these actual softwares to make them like a certain software if you like one better, if that makes any sense. Change the like configuration for like my video game players. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Change the buttons to make it like, hey, I like it like this. You know, like an old Madden game. You want it to play like the new Madden game if they change the buttons. Basically in that sense. And if you do want to start doing some video editing, if you're into that type of thing, definitely play with it and ask some questions. There's tons of YouTube videos out here. I'm definitely not the only one, but hopefully I broke this down to make it a little easier from somebody you may know, or you know, somebody who may just give it to you a little easier where you're like, hey, JD made it make sense for me and I like the way he came across saying it. So that works too. Always be creative, use your mind, and try to do things that entertain you, entertain people. Just be creative and make things fun and bring something fresh and dope, and basically just do you. You'll be fine. For the ones that don't know me, I am Dunlap Films, IG Dunlap Films. If you haven't subscribed yet, you should go ahead and subscribe because I plan on dropping some more videos like this. And if you have any more questions, definitely let me know. Hit that like button for me too, man, and don't forget to keep being creative, support, and make an impact out here. Peace out.